We left on March 1st on the noon American Airlines flight to Miami, flying business class. We spent the night in Miami at the Hilton. We left that next evening on March 2nd about 8:30 for the 9-hour flight to Buenos Aires, where we were met at the airport by Sylvia from Odyssey, who took us in a van to our hotel. After cleaning up a bit, Edie and I walked across the street to the Railroad Museum, where we were shown around by this young guy. He was a Warriors fan, so we had a lot to talk about. That evening, after our group orientation, we went out for our first group dinner. The next morning, we did a bus and walking tour of Buenos Aires. I took a lot of footage of the changing of the guard, but I'm only going to show you just a little bit. Number of Grecian-looking buildings scattered around downtown. We were left to wander about on our own that afternoon in La Boca, which means the mouth. After lunch, we regrouped and bussed to the Recoleto Cemetery, where the rich and famous are entombed in elaborate style. We had some downtime in our hotel, and then we gathered for dinner and a tango show, neither of which was very good. Today was unstructured, so we first walked to a bookstore that was originally a theater. Then we took a taxi to Teatro Colón for a short tour in which we got to hear the orchestra perform. The audio was incredible. Then we took a taxi back to La Boca for more exploring and for lunch on our own.
Taking one of you taking a movie in La Boca.
This is La Boca.
Rio de la Plata. Funky barrio.
Later, we explored some disappointing crafts booths in the Recoleta. The next morning, we were up at 2 a.m. for our early morning flight to Ushuaia. We had to get there before the winds picked up, and it was a 4-hour flight. Our hotel was about a mile or so out of town, but it was smack dab on the Beagle Channel. Really beautifully located. After breakfast, we toured Ushuaia. We started the trip with 24 of us. And Maria Elena, who was our tour director. We then toured the Maritime Museum, which was originally a pretty grim prison located at the end of the world. This is the outside of the prison. Pretty nice day here. The wind is really cut back. It was blowing like crazy when we got here. It's not so bad anymore. Really depressing place, this prison. So I'll quit filming it. Edie ended up with shredded carrots for lunch. We spent some free time on the beach where we ran into a friendly dog.
jump up. Don't jump up. No. Just told you not to do
I
it.
know, because you're all wet. Oh.
He's a crazy guy.
Yes, exactly. I don't drop beer. I drink it.
That's it.
Hey, don't go without it. Is this where he's buried?
And La Batalla Verde. La Batalla is a native word that also belongs to the tribe. That means Bay of Plenty. Because they had everything they needed here. Shelter, because they're in an old fjord. We are between mountains. Fresh water. Even though the bay is mainly salt water, we have rivers flowing into the lake.
We stopped here for some excellent cheesecake. And then we boarded the Australias around 5 p.m. The ship held 136 passengers and 45 crew. And 3 Zodiacs. We had our orientation session and they gave us some pisco sours. And then we spent a comfortable night. Early the next morning, March 8th, if you're keeping track, we boarded our Zodiacs for the short ride on to Cape Horn. In our orientation, we were told a story that in the days of sail, 2 ships that arrived at the Cape at about the same time navigated the Cape. One took 8 days and the other one took 189 days. The wind really picked up and the crew hustled us off the Cape.
Hey, come back.
Yeah, there is.
Rock and roll this morning. Oh, there's some blue sky. Blue sky, sleet, wind. Leaving Cape Horn. Just had breakfast.
That afternoon, we went ashore at Wailua Bay, where our guide was a fountain of useful information. It was a really chilly day, and as we gathered to board the Zodiacs back to the ship, we were treated to hot chocolate laced with Johnny Walker. It's the only way to drink hot chocolate, believe me.
Yeah, it lost quite a bit. It lost a lot. I said the whole front, you can see there's different color than the one on the side. That's all new carving. This is a very active glacier. It's very active glacier. One of Nelson's guests was asking about the calvings. If it's better to have calvings earlier or later. And I said, now we're gonna have the Odyssey calving, and then later it's gonna be the OET calving.
It's gorgeous.
What kind of walk was it coming
It
up?
was a fun walk.
Yeah?
As we were all standing around admiring the glacier, one of the guys on our tour slipped and broke his leg in 3 places. We're pretty far away from anything down here.
Here we're close to the
glacier's been calving recently. A lot of big chunks that are floating around. This is me waving. So they radioed for helicopter assistance, and we stayed in place in doing large circles for a number of hours, maybe 5 or 6 hours, until they finally decided the helicopter wasn't going to come. Then we steamed back to Ushuaia and offloaded our injured passenger about a mile offshore from Ushuaia, from the hotel where we were at in Ushuaia, right outside our stateroom window. The next morning it was so cold and windy, Edie and I had the top deck to ourselves. We walked around for a while. Then the weather got significantly worse.
Ooh, way up. Pacific. I can't imagine why someone came around this corner and called this the Pacific. Called this the turbulent. Oh, we're turning.
Are we? Yeah. Is this the extreme right-hand turn we're supposed to take up to the
this
other
looks like-
channel?
Yeah. It looks like a turn.
Yeah, it does. Kind of slowed down.
Oh, look at the big rocky point over there. Close to
These waves are pretty amazing.
This is probably pretty peaceful.
We were retracing our route that next day, so to entertain us, they gave us a tour of the bridge and of the engine room, and there were a couple of interesting lectures. We finally loaded onto the Zodiacs to visit the Pia Glacier. After about 45 minutes, we returned to the ship where we were greeted with Johnny Walker and hot chocolate. The next morning, we offloaded quite early onto the island where the penguins were. A great many of them had already migrated, but there were quite a few left, and they seemed to have no fear of us. They were kind of cute to watch. Some of them were molting. Some of them were kind of buttering up each other. We got on the Zodiacs, headed back for the ship, and steamed off. That's the end of part 1.